Awesome. Well, so look at our full little group here. This is so fun. So I don't have a lot prepared on the whole fat subject, but I thought we would start by talking about what's your favorite thing to fill your blue container with? So what's your favorite fat that you're using to fill in that blue one?
Hummus.
Cheese.
Hummus, cheese, yeah.
Avocado.
Cheese. I like
Avocado.
Avocado.
Hummus.
Come on.
And how is
Avocado.
everybody, like, does everybody sad you only get one blue? Is that a
Yes.
sticking point right now?
What? I
Yep.
got 4.
Yeah.
Or
One blue and
what do
every
you mean one?
You're on the Kim plan. That's the 3 blues and 16
3 blues.
teaspoons.
Is that blue stuff really that bad for you?
No, it's not bad. So the reason it just keeps you within the macros. So healthy fats are wonderful. And this program actually gives you more healthy fats than some other macro-based programs. You're getting 30% healthy fats if you're following the plan. So you get them in blues, oranges, and teaspoons. And so with the calorie allotment, it works out to be 30%. Some plans have you on 20%. So you'd have even less fats in your diet. Fats help you feel satiated, and that, it helps with repair of your body. And so it's one of those things that you don't want to cut out fats from your life. They're critical to our systems.
If you cut out orange and teaspoon, can you have more blue?
No, they're
No.
different. So the reason they're split out that way, and I even have my food list here so we can talk about some of that too.
Okay.
The reason they're split out is because each of those different categories bring different nutrients.
Okay.
So your seeds, like a lot of those things are going to have, some of them have some pretty good omega-3s and 6s in them, where maybe your blue's not going to have quite that makeup. So you're getting different types of fats with each one. And that's why, like, she puts nut butters, peanut butter, almond butter in your teaspoons and not a blue. Because in the blue, you're getting that avocado or cheese, or you're just getting different sets of nutrients. So, yeah. So it's one of those things. Now your teaspoons go up a little bit as your plan goes up. But your orange and your blue stay the same. And I have to admit, like, orange sometimes is hard. Like, I pretty much always have a shot of sunflower seeds because I don't have salads very often. So I'll just do my shot of sunflower seeds.
Yeah, that's what I do.
And I don't do raw. I know it says raw. I do roasted and salted. I'll drink some extra water. I don't know. Really.
That's a good idea to do just a shot like that.
Yeah.
That's me too.
Yeah.
I savor them. I'll sit at night watching TV and I'll eat them one at a time.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
And it lasts like the whole show.
Perfect.
And I enjoy them.
So, yeah. So how's everybody else filling their orange? Do you do dressings?
Orange.
Pumpkin
Dressing
seed.
in my salad.
Yeah.
I
no,
don't know mine.
If a healthy fat, since it's 2 tablespoons, I'll just use 2 tablespoons of hummus rather than fill the blue container. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
use half of a blue.
Yeah, that can be easier than trying to stuff the hummus into the container and then getting it back out.
Yes.
Lick it out with your finger.
Right?
And then look at afterward.
And so if anybody's following To Be Mindset, there's a trick that Alana does with her dressings. It will be a little different if you're using the orange container because this is a dilution idea, but basically she adds lemon juice or a little bit of water to any dressing she has so that the amount of dressing can go a longer way and it'll be less caloric. And I find I do that just normally now when I make my own dressings, I'll put a little extra water or lemon juice in it so it's a little thinner, and it still tastes just as good. But then it just kind of coats everything a little different. You don't have a glob and then trying to get it to get on all the lettuce pieces. So that's a little tip. You guys want to do that?
that is a great tip because I do that as well. But for my oranges, olives go with every single meal that you could possibly imagine, and shredded coconut. as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, that's on there. So we should talk about some of the things because, like, so there's all the seeds, right? You've got this is orange container, pumpkin, sunflower, sesame, flax, and chia seeds. And so you could make a chia seed pudding out of almond milk and chia seeds, and you've got like a teaspoon and an orange, right? And that's going to be a pretty filling mix of things, and you can put a little flavor in it if you want to. There's lots of recipes for like chia puddings in the blog. Hemp seeds, pine nuts, olives, coconut, shredded unsweetened, and then the fixate salad dressings. So those are kind of your orange choices, and all have really great nutrients. So that's how they get on the food list. And then blues, I don't know, we could talk about, that's pretty much just your usual, some of the nuts and cheeses,
All the stuff we want to eat.
all the stuff you
Yeah.
really want. Yeah. And it's funny because I know a lot of people will be like, well, I'm eating healthy, right? And that means I've had a couple handfuls of nuts in a day. Well, we all know that's going to be like, this one has 8 cashews is 1 blue. So that's way, way less than a handful, right? Or 20 pistachios, you get a decent amount there. 12 almonds. So, you know, when you think about, well, I'm eating healthy, that's not quite the same as, you know, eating to a macro plan, right? Because healthy foods can still put you in an excess of calories and still put you in weight gain. So if weight loss is your goal, you definitely want to get to that macro breakdown and follow that.
So why do all of like coconut milk has like canned after it or another way it's packaged? What's the difference between the two?
Yeah, so there are coconut beverage, which is something
Yep.
Lily uses that
I've
in
heard
her
that.
shakes. And Lily, how do you count that one? Is that a teaspoon or is it a?
It's a teaspoon.
Okay, so a coconut beverage is coconut flavoring from the coconut, but it doesn't have all the solid fats in it. So
It doesn't
Okay.
have the cream in
Right.
it, so it's unsweetened, and so
Yeah.
that's why it's a teaspoon. If it's sweetened, then it's not good for you.
Right.
And
Or if
that's
it's
usually the
full fat
coconut
cream.
milk.
So that's called
Yeah.
coconut beverage.
Yeah.
Coconut milk is in a can and it still
And-
has the fats in it.
Okay.
That's where you get to a blue. I think it's a blue, right?
Yeah, yeah, it says blue. I
So-
just noticed that it says beverage or canned.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the difference was.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, and then when you have canned coconut, you could have milk, you could have light milk, you could have cream. So there's lots of selection in depending on what your store is like in coconut milks themselves in the can, and some have more fat and more more meat from the coconut blended in, and some have less. So I think I'm sure all these recipes are just either coconut milk or a light.
They are all just coconut milk or unsweetened coconut milk. They are not the full fat coconut at all.
Right.
Okay.
What did you say, Kim? I didn't hear you. Oh, I still can't hear you. I don't know what's happening.
She's not muted.
Almond milk?
I think you're too far away.
You
Now
gotta
try
get
it again.
closer to your microphone, Kim.
I'm not that far away.
Oh,
I'm-
There you go.
It was,
not-
I think your computer shifted and then we could hear you. I think it was like your speaker was over something.
Unsweetened almond milk.
And what about it? What is it?
It's not a blue, is it?
No,
No.
it's a
No.
teaspoon. So 8 ounces is a teaspoon.
What? Oh,
8
Yeah.
ounces of unsweetened almond milk is a teaspoon.
Oh,
no kidding.
It
Mm.
used to be a yellow or even like a half a yellow. It went like yellow, half yellow, and then she put it in the teaspoon category. So originally when the plan came out, it was counted as more, but now it is at a teaspoon.
Unless you're having more than one a day, and then it is a yellow.
More
my
than 8
understanding.
ounces, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. So
Yes,
8
ma'am.
ounces of unsweetened coconut milk equals 1 teaspoon.
Almond milk.
Almond milk. Sorry. What did I say? Coconut milk?
Coconut milk.
Well,
Either one is a teaspoon.
Is coconut milk is the same?
No,
Yes.
coconut beverage. Coconut beverage is
No,
this.
but coconut milk.
Coconut milk is a blue.
Blue.
How much of it is a blue?
Blue container.
Oh, you fill the container.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not like 8 ounces.
Correct.
Oh,
Correct.
Hey,
Yeah.
Deanna, what about like the that lactose milk? Is that, I mean,
Oh,
do
I would
you-
have
do
to,
you
Maribel,
guys-
yeah, I'll have to look because 8 ounces of regular milk. So if it has the same milk sugars or makeup of regular milk, that's 1 yellow. 8 ounces of regular milk,
it
2%.
doesn't.
what
So
about skim milk? Is that yellow too?
it essentially milk is, and you're only supposed to have it like 3 times a week.
Oh,
It's kind of one of those because it has milk has extra sugars in it. It's like it's kind of in that treat category. It's not like an everyday thing.
What about oat milk?
So oat milk is kind of interesting. I'd have to look it up right now, but it has it's got to be a yellow because it's different than almond milk in its structure. It's more carbohydrates, less fat. And I think it's got to be a yellow, but I'd have to look and see how much you could have. It's because it's funny because my friend and I go get hemp milk lattes too. And they're so deliciously creamy. We get them once a week, but like they're really fat. They're like higher calories than almond milk and some of the other alternative milks too. And oat milk is also higher calories than almond milk.
what about cashew milk? That's something too, right?
That would probably be higher too, I would think.
Okay.
Same with macadamia nut milk. But I will look up our alternate milks and we can drop some nutritional information in the group. And so then we can see all these different milks and how they
So
work.
almond milk is kind of the best one.
It is, yeah, not environmentally, unfortunately, but it is,
Really?
well, almonds require the most water to grow them and keep them going of any
Wow.
agriculture. So they
Wow.
not, and because we all have almond stuff now in our diets, they have to produce a lot more almonds. So there's some kickback on whether or not they're environmentally good. But almond milk is the least caloric for what you're getting in it, right? So you can add it to things without having a big calorie boost, whereas the oat or some of the other nut milks are going to have more calories per serving. So then you'd have to count them at a higher level than a teaspoon.
Can I talk about carbs again? Wow, I had this
Sure, yeah,
problem.
we can go to carbs and we can come back to fat if somebody else has other questions.
I'm trying to do this crack the fat loss code. So the first week is carb deplete. So I lost like 3 pounds the first week. Everyone else loses 5 and 8 and 10, but I'll take 3. So in the second week, you start cycling them. Some days you have it in the morning, some days you have it twice, some days it's high carb and medium for the week. In that week, I put the 3 pounds back on. How do you keep losing when you're eating carbs? Every time I put carbs in, I gain.
Yeah,
I don't know how to add it.
it's not the carbs, it's the amount of calories. So it's not because, I mean, carbs are going to or here's what's happening. Your 3 pound weight loss was a water weight loss and not an actual weight loss, right? It's just water going out of your system. And then when you introduce carbs back in, you retain more water in your system with eating carbs. So it's likely in that 2-week period, it wasn't a true weight loss where you actually lost fat from your body. So weight loss, and for your body to use up as fat storage, you have to be in a calorie deficit. So you could, like, no matter if you're following keto or you're following a high carb diet, in order for sustained and true weight loss, you have to be in a calorie deficit, and then it stays off, right? Like if you maintain that after that. But if you change diets and have water released from your system, then that's generally what happens in the first week of anyone changing their diet when they see weight loss. It's a water loss. They could have had inflammation. They could have had just be changing their diet in such a way that their body's like, oh, okay, we're doing something different and let's get rid of this. But it's like those higher numbers, you can lose 1 to 2 pounds of actual fat in a week if you're pretty strictly following something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, except on the scale doesn't agree with what I'm doing ever.
Well, part of it too, I have to say, consistency on a singular thing helps, because then you can see, like when you're consistently eating a certain way, right? Then you can tweak certain things. Like maybe you're having too much dairy as your protein. Maybe you're not eating water-filled veggies. Maybe you're eating more starch-filled veggies. So you can tweak little things as you go, but if your plan's very similar, then you can see where to pinpoint those things, or maybe things that are more caloric, or, whatever your goal is.
Okay.
I know it's frustrating because
I get so frustrated.
I know you really want to see the scale move.
I want to see the scale move.
Yeah.
I can see it in the mirror now. I can see it on my clothes, but I need to see the number go down. I just need it.
Yeah. And that it's hard because it's like you could be feeling a ton better. You could have smaller clothes and not see it change.
Yeah. And that plays with my head.
Right. Yeah.
So Deanna, I actually looked up in the food list on the BOD app, and it says that unsweetened coconut milk beverage is 1 teaspoon for 8 ounces. And unsweetened rice milk is 1 yellow. Unsweetened coconut water is a half a yellow. Unsweetened soy milk is a half a red. Unsweetened almond milk is 1 teaspoon, and low-fat milk is 1 yellow and a half a teaspoon.
Okay. So they probably don't have oat milk or like some of those alternative milks listed just yet, right?
Yes, they don't have anything in there for this is under the replacement food container group.
Okay.
So I actually have unsweetened cashew milk, and I have unsweetened macadamia milk downstairs if you really wanted to know. But yeah. I have almond and I have this, and actually cashew is not as it's not as much as what you would think it is. I mean, honestly, to me, it's better than rice milk. I mean, rice milk is like 120 calories or something for 8 ounces, I want to say. So cashew is 50, whereas my unsweetened almond is 30.
Okay.
And the total fat grams is 4, but it has 1 gram of saturated fat, whereas almond is 2.5 with 0.5 polyunsaturated, 1.5 monosaturated. And then it has 2 grams of carbs, whereas almond is 1 carb. Mm-hmm. And then it has 1 gram of protein, which is the same.
Hey, Beverly, what kind of almond milk is that? Can you show me the picture? Because we had a talk a couple weeks ago about, oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. Maybe that's what's the first ingredient on that?
Almond beverage. Filtered water and almonds.
Is that it?
Well, I mean, that's the first. No, it's
okay.
I'm gonna go calcium phosphate, sea salt, gellan gum, sunflower lecithin.
And that's probably why it's so low in calories. A couple weeks ago, I was talking about how I was using this one almond milk that I love. It's Elmhurst almond milk, and it only has water and almonds in it. But for 1 serving, which is 8 ounces, it's like 150 or 30 calories. It's like, it's obscene how many calories is in it for almond milk. And then I went, Deanna's like, yeah, maybe. And then I switched to Khalifa Farms, and it's the same thing. It's 30 calories for like 8 ounces. And I was like, why is there such a disparity?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have
They're not
that
the one I
one.
use.
I have
This
that
is
one.
what you have. Yeah. Yeah. So this is 40 calories for 8 ounces
Mhm.
for the macadamia.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
reasonable.
yeah. That one tastes so good too.
Where do you
Oh,
get
I
that?
love it.
Yeah, you can.
Uh,
A lot of our regular
Walmart?
stores carry it. Yeah,
I have this
the Whole
one for,
Foods. I'm sure they. Oh, and Pacific almond milk is also really good.
That's
Yeah.
a really good brand.
Yeah.
well, both my son and I don't eat almonds. So, for the most part. So, cause we both have slight sensitivities to them. So my younger son uses rice milk, which
Mhm.
no concern about that. I mean, he burns through the calories like crazy. He's in that growing stage. But and it's really sweet. I mean, rice milk is very, very sweet. But then I use like just 2 ounces of this with water, and that's enough because that
Mhm.
that actually gives me the creaminess of the milk without the total 50 calories and fat and all of that. So
What does
that's my
everybody
tip.
do with all these milks? You use them in the shakes?
Yeah, that's what I do with mine.
Is that the
Or I
only-
bake with it.
Overnight oats, all sorts of things.
Overnight
It's like
oats?
anything you put milk in, you can use it as a substitute. Cereal.
Coffee.
There's quite a few
Coffee.
recipes
Coffee.
fixate too, where like the chicken tikka masala that we made a few months back, that used almond milk to make it a little more creamy with yogurt, so that you're still getting, instead of using a regular cream, dairy cream, you would get that. And then yeah, so there's lots of options with it, especially when it's unsweetened.
I think with that recipe, I think I used either cashew or macadamia because we don't do dairy at all. And a lot of the non-dairy yogurts have other stuff that we also don't do.
Right.
So I think I just used one of the two, and it was still really good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
made it
it
good
could
and
be a little
creamy.
bit thinner, you know what I mean? And no big deal, right?
Right.
Especially when you put it over some cauliflower rice, it'll kind of soak it up a little.
Yeah, Kelly had a good point, is that I use these two with my Shakeology when I make pudding, and it's so good. Oh, the treat.
That's what I was eating. If y'all were watching me eat, that's what I ate. I was so freaking hungry. I'm sorry. I had to eat. Yep.
Perfect.
What
All
kind
right.
of yogurt are we supposed to use?
Oh, Greek has more protein. And so that's considered a red. 2% or below is considered a red. Plain is the best. And then you can add to it things you want. Like if you want to just do fresh fruit or a little bit of honey, or some kind of extract. If you do a regular yogurt, you're getting into a yellow, I believe, because there's more carbs in a regular yogurt because it's not strained. So the difference between regular yogurt and Greek yogurt is just that it's strained. So you're taking out the is it the whey? What's it called? What's the liquid called? I made yogurt forever last year. Now I can't remember what the liquid's called. There's the liquid that's in it. You'd strain that out, so then you're left with the more protein concentrate.
Okay, so you have to use Greek yogurt and 2% or less.
2% or less. I love Faji. That's my favorite if we're not making it. But it's really easy to make in an Instant Pot if you like yogurt.
That yogurt's Dr. Oz approved. That's what he eats for breakfast every day.
Yeah.
I used to have to deliver his
So,
breakfast.
so
Are we doing
you're not
labels?
supposed to
We might
use
have to leave
vanilla?
for you guys.
Okay.
Vanilla flavor? You're not supposed to use vanilla?
Well, Mariana had brought the Too Good yogurts on, and there's like a vanilla in that uses some stevia. And so that one's fine. But if you're getting a regular Greek yogurt that is not using an alternate sweetener, just using sugar, then they tend to be pretty high in sugar to counteract the tartness of a Greek yogurt. So if you're getting something that's flavored, you'll have to turn that, package around to make sure that it's what it's putting in to sweeten it, right? Because you don't want anything artificial. And then how much it's sweetening it. So it's really easier to sweeten it yourself so that you're not overdoing the sugar.
See what it says on the yogurts.
And I have those Too Good ones now. I do coconut and vanilla, and then I'll throw some fruit in them, and they taste like a little pudding parfait.
They're so good. I like adding coconut flakes.
Yes.
Unsweetened coconut flakes.
Yeah. And they're not very many calories. They're only like 80, I think, or something. Not very many.
I get oikos.
Oh, yeah. So I can't remember though. Tell me what that's sweetened with. I'm feeling like it's
It
sucralose.
has
but
no added sugar, no artificial sweeteners, and no fat. Let me
Oh,
see
okay.
let me see what's in it. Kosher. Where's the ingredients?
Kim, if you have some of those labels, do you have any in your refrigerator to grab? Oh, okay. Because I've been curious. I have never looked. Everybody really likes Siggy's, but I haven't stopped and looked at it in the grocery store to see what's all in it. But everybody raves about the flavor of that one.
Of yogurt.
The Siggy's yogurt.
I like the Costco brand that they carry has a good Greek yogurt.
I haven't looked at that one. Do they have a plain one or is it flavored or what? Yeah, let's find out.
I used to always get the one from Aldi. They actually have an organic one that is a Greek yogurt that's plain that tastes just as good as Faya. I felt like Oikos and what's the other really popular one that everybody like? Chobani. Oh gosh, both of those are just, they are like, no. Like unless I want sour cream, like that's what it's good for, is sour cream.
What is it called?
Kirkland.
This is just Costco's Greek yogurt. It's plain. Has for
Oh, I gotta
2/3
go.
cup. It's 100 calories. Has 18 grams of protein, 7 carbs, 0 fiber. It says 4 sugars, no added sugar though, and no fat.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
I get
I like-
vanilla, banana, and coconut.
So did you find what the sweetener is, Kathy?
I'm looking now. It says there's 5 grams of sugar, but no added sugar. Let's see. Grade A non-fat milk, water, chicory root fiber, contains less than 1% of stevia leaf extract.
Okay.
Natural flavors, lemon juice concentrate, sea salt, and vitamin D3.
Okay, then that one's okay.
And then the banana one, same thing, chicory root fiber, less than 1% of stevia leaf extract. Yeah.
Perfect.
How is the stevia root different than the stevia leaf, and is it the same nutrition wise?
I think she was saying chicory root and stevia.
It's chicory root fiber and stevia leaf extract.
So stevia leaf, if it's from actually from the leaf and not combined with another alcohol sugar is better than if it's been combined with something else or more processed. So things will sometimes say whole leaf stevia.
Oh, thank you, hon.
Versus, just stevia.
Has beta carotene and annatto extract for color and lemon juice concentrate.
Yeah, that one sounds like it's just fine. I think that's basically the same thing in the Two Goods, the Two Good yogurts too.
Uh-huh.
I just looked Siggy's up. I think it's just like Lily's. 4
Oh, okay.
grams of sugar, 16 grams protein, 90 calories. That's for the non-fat. And I only see skim milk and live cultures for ingredients.
Perfect. Yeah.
These are 90 calories. 15 grams of protein. No fat, no added sugar, and no artificial sweetness.
You guys get all fancy with your names. I just get store-bought.
That works too.
But it works. I mean, it's got 0 fat, cholesterol, carbohydrates is 7 grams, dietary fibers 1 gram, total sugars 6, but 0 added sugars and 17 grams of protein.
Perfect. Yeah, because milk carries sugar. Milk has natural sugars. So that's why you
Okay.
have those sugars in these yogurts. It's
Oh,
just
so that's where
from
it's
the milk.
coming
And
from.
that's why when you
Yeah.
have a glass of milk, it's a yellow and not a protein. It's because of the sugars that just naturally occur in cow's milk.
Oh, good.
So
Yeah.
are these a red or a yellow?
Those are a red.
They
Red.
are, okay.
Yep. And whatever you add to it then changes, adds in whatever you add, right?
Okay,
Want to add fruit, or if you do add some sweetener, then you have to account for it. If it's enough to be a teaspoon, or enough to be a yellow, then probably not, probably shouldn't do that.
yeah, I usually don't add a sweetener, I don't need it. I
Yeah, well,
might add
the Oikos stuff
berries.
is already tastes sweeter because of the stevia, which is nice. You don't feel like you have to
Yeah.
add anything
So
to it.
it says less than 1% of stevia leaf extract, so how can they say there's no added sugar? Because wouldn't that be an added sugar?
Well, it is a non-caloric sweetener. So
Oh,
that's why,
okay. Okay.
yeah.
Hey, Dan, since this milk doesn't have any sugar, well, take it
Oh,
back.
it's
I looked at
Fairlife? Is it Fairlife? Yeah. I don't know how they would count that because it does have less sugar. I think it's still considered under the yellow category, but it's less sugar, less fat. But I don't know. I can look it up and see if someone has talked about it in the groups to see if there's an answer about Fairlife.
Yeah, because I'm not eating enough carbs, and I'm like, that would be a good idea if I can add a little bit of this in the shake instead of every day of water. That
Right.
would take one yellow off my
Well, and
track. That
Yeah, and you could just do regular milk too if you're not eating
I
it.
can't take milk. I can't take regular.
Oh, because that's lactose free. Okay. Yeah, and it's funny because we're all like, "Oh, you don't eat enough carbs. Can we have your yellow, please?"
Can you share those yellows?
Like, I found your extra carbs.
That's why I use the almond milk, is because I can't drink milk either.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, dairy. I was reading about this. Like, dairy intolerance is really pretty common, and we don't quite give it enough credit. And it really, a lot of it can depend on your ancestry, whether or not you were in a place that adapted to having cow's milk earlier in centuries. And then, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people who just cannot process it, don't have the right things to process it.
Maribel,
also has,
what state are you in?
I'm in Arkansas.
oh, Maribel.
You're not close enough to share your carb, your
Right.
yellows.
What were you going to say, Beverly?
I think a lot of the dairy sensitivities also have to do with the processing of the dairy now. It's not just that people have an intolerance to cow's milk, but it's the process. It's what the cows ingest. It's what the cows are given to sustain life. And then the process that they're put through, and then the milk that comes out in the process that goes through. Because if you can get your hands on raw milk from a farmer, even somebody who has a dairy sensitivity may not have a sensitivity to raw cow's milk, but it's illegal to be sold in many of the states in the US.
Right.
So it's
same with,
very hard.
like wheat, our grain production, right? I mean, that's why a lot of wheat and gluten sensitivities are happening. I have a friend who has dairy sensitivities here, went to Italy, ate whatever she wanted and felt great. And, it just really is, our food system has a lot to do with a lot of our sensitivities now. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's why I don't know how many people have gotten this. Well, because we have so many food sensitivities in our house. We've had my husband's father, I remember probably, I don't know, guess when my son first started, he's like, I just don't remember, people being allergic to all the foods. And it's like, well, it's because our food system has drastically changed rapidly since the 80s.
Yeah.
It just started going crazy with all the different things. So they've definitely made it more difficult for our bodies to be able to process. And so that's where the sensitivities come.
Yeah, and the nutritional value of our food, because it gets shipped all over the place, it's picked before it's ripe. And so you don't get the full nutritional value you would have had if you'd grown it in your garden and picked it when it was ready. And even now, our soil has stuff in it from years of whatever environmental damage. So even if you have your own garden, it's still not as good. This is such a, sorry, Debbie Downer. But it's like, that's kind of what we're battling, right? And that's what's nice about things like Shakeology, because I think that's the link that pieces it together, right? Because there are things in our food system that even if you're eating all the right macros and good foods, you still might be short some things. And then it just fills in those pieces so that your body can get what it needs.
I have a question about
Yeah.
a macronutrient diet. Is there like just like a simple definition or description of what a macro diet actually is?
Sure, yeah. So it's macronutrients, right? So macronutrients are fats, proteins, and carbs. So the diet is a percentage of each of those things to make up 100%. So in the portion fix plan or ultimate portion fix, it's 40% protein, or sorry, 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fat. And so some diets will play with those numbers. Maybe you have more protein, maybe you have more carbs, maybe you have more fat, less fat, you know what I mean? You can play with those numbers, but in the end, you're just, whatever food you're eating, it can go into a certain bin of either protein, carbs, or fats. And then that percentage creates your daily percentage that you're having. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've been watching the videos. I'm not on board yet with the portion control thing. I'm still trying to figure out, this whole system. And I've just started watching the videos. I'm now through module 3, and now it is making a lot more sense. But that's, kind of where I'm at in my journey.
Yeah. Do you have more questions about it? Because we can certainly talk about it. Like what you want a more detail on?
I guess not really. I mean, I'm starting to get the gist of it now that I'm watching all of the videos. I was like really feeling overwhelmed by it, and it seemed like just so tedious to, every meal having to fill up these containers. I'm like, how do you even do this? I don't even understand. But I'm starting to get a grip on it, and I'm not getting the results as quickly as I thought I would, because I have been doing, the exercising every day. I'm eating a lot healthier, making better choices, but I still have a tendency to want to overeat.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm just kind of like floundering, figuring out where I'm making my mistakes. Like, you guys were just talking about yogurt, and I just went and grabbed my yogurt out of the fridge, and it's the Oikos, and it's horrible. It's got like a bunch of saturated fat in it and it's high in carbs. There's no fiber. And I didn't take the time that's just an example. I didn't take the time to read the label, and I thought that I was making a healthy choice by picking up plain Greek yogurt, but in fact, I really wasn't.
Well, actually, no, but let's talk about it, because your Greek
You have to
yogurt
get the 000.
It won't have fiber in it because it's milk, right? It's just a fermented milk essentially, or whatever you want.
Actually, this has 3 grams of fiber.
Okay.
10
So
grams of carbs, 3 of
that's the
fiber.
chicory root that's added in, is that Oikos has chicory root added in. So yogurt does not have fiber in it, but they can add it in. But that's not like, so that's considered a protein and going towards your protein macro. So it's okay if it, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to meet all the standards of things. It just needs to meet what's good for a protein. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, so like if you want, like the fiber content's going to come from your fruit and your vegetables and your complex carbs.
But it has like 4.5 grams of saturated fat, and it's okay. And it's got like 23 grams or something like that. I put it back in the fridge. I think it was like 23 or 25 grams of carbs, and it's got 150 calories
so
per serving.
Yeah, that means it's likely sweetened with regular sugar. So you'll just want to find one that's unsweetened or has a stevia sweetener. Because then That's where you're gonna.
Yeah, but I don't think you're alone. Like, not a lot of people read labels in the grocery store. The first time I went grocery shopping with my husband, I literally thought he was gonna have a heart attack. I turned every label over. I read everything. He's like, is this how you grocery shop? And I was like, this is not how you grocery shop. And so it's, and now like he understands, because I was looking for, at the time I was very particular, and even now, like, I don't have high fructose corn syrup because it's not, it causes migraines in me. And so I check everything, because they'll put it in the weirdest stuff that you don't even expect.
Yes.
And so, so he's
So
like, what
bad
are you
for you.
doing? And I was like, I'm looking for high fructose corn syrup. What are you doing? Do you want to help? So it was really kind of funny, but that's just something that you start to do and it becomes second nature. So I think it's, it happens. Like, even now I'll pick some stuff up and I'll be like, oh, and then I'll look later and I'm like, why didn't I even think about looking at that label? So
yeah. And that's what's hard.
That is so true. And
yeah, go ahead, Lily.
oh, I was gonna say, Marianne, I completely understand where you're coming from, because I'm the same way. I'm like, ketchup, it has high fructose corn syrup in it. Who knew, But back to the containers, I found that when I first started doing the containers, that it was super hard and I was confused and I wasn't quite sure. But the more you use it, the easier it gets, and it just becomes second nature. And you get used to using the same containers, and you know what fits in each container. So give it, a couple weeks, and you'll be a champ, and you'll know what goes in every container, and you'll feel comfortable with it, and it won't be as confusing and as hard to figure out what you're supposed to eat at each meal, because it'll just be second nature.
You'll
Yeah, I
recognize
have to
the
agree.
portion size too.
Yeah.
So after a while, you won't need the containers, because you'll be able to look at something and be like I looked at something the other day. I was like, well, that is an excessive amount of yellow. And then I was like, I don't even care. And I just marched forward, but you recognize it. And I think that's kind of the starting point, is being able to recognize the portion sizes. That's why the containers are really helpful in the beginning. And
Yeah.
we have like 4 sets of them, but it's fine. This is fine.
Are they dishwasher safe? Because I've been washing them by hand.
Yes, they are.
Container? Yeah, I think top level probably. That's where most plastics.
Because I didn't want to ruin them.
Yeah. And I think if you think about things with ingredients, like if you're trying to take something that's already prepared or a recipe that you're used to making and try to containerize it, it can feel really, really frustrating, right? Because it's got so many nutrients in it that go all different directions, and it's so hard to figure it out. But if you're just having some chicken and some rice and some broccoli to start, then you've filled your red, your yellow, and your green, right? And you start then thinking about those things, and then you can get in. And the fixate recipes are awesome for that at first too, because they already tell you how big of a portion you get and what containers it has. But it's like you get a little better at it the more you keep doing it, and then you'll also be thinking in macronutrients. We will talk container colors, but anytime you're using that blue orange teaspoon, you're in a fat. Red, you're in a protein, and yellow and purple, you're in a carb. So, that you just start thinking in terms of, oh, okay, I need protein right now, so this is my selection. And you can kind of gear up for those things.
Well, I'm definitely excited for, with the program, because it's going to teach me the portion control, for sure, and figuring out what exactly is a balanced meal supposed to look like. Where I was a little frustrated, or just like I made like enchiladas, for instance, like a big batch of enchiladas. I'm like, how are you even supposed to figure that out with these containers? I don't understand.
Yeah. And it is, because it's like you would either have to calculate it ahead of time and then know did I use a 6-inch tortilla, and does this tortilla, did I fill it with a full red and a blue, or do I just have, extra? So that's where the fixate recipes can come in really handy, and they are portioned out. So she'll tell you, if you put this much chicken and this much of a shell, and that's 1 serving. But sometimes you're going to have some recipes where you're just guessing, you know what I mean? And you want to have it, it's something you like to eat, and you're going to guess to the best of your ability and move on. And that's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, I think that's been kind of for me half the battle is allowing myself that grace that it's not always going to be perfect. And as somebody who's a type A, I'm sure that shocks a lot of you in the group. But I'm type A. I know, shocking. It's true. But that was really hard for me, was accepting the fact that sometimes I'm just going to have to like eyeball it and run with it. But then, you know, I would be like, that's fine, because it's better to do it like good is always like is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. And so I really just have tried to extend myself that level of grace. And it's actually made a world of difference, because I would get really frustrated and I would just stop and I'm like, this is dumb. I'm not doing this. Because it was overwhelming. Like when you make a recipe that's your favorite recipe, how do you container that out? You know? And so that was like always kind of a struggle. So I definitely feel that.
And there's sometimes, like if I make a recipe that is something that is probably not going to fit very well with my plan, maybe I have a portion of whatever that is, and then I stick a side of veggies on it. And calorically, it kind of equals itself out, right? I'm not having just that thing. I was trying to create, oh, my cat's climbing up. And, you know, but I add those veggies in, so that helps fill me up, so I don't have too much of whatever it is. If it's, you know, macaroni and cheese or whatever, right? Whatever that thing is for you. And then you drink a little more water. The next day you get back on your plan and you go on with things, because you can't just not do it at some point. You know what I mean? There's going to be things you want to try and enjoy, and you know, you can totally still do your, you know, get to your goals and be there enjoying things.
Yeah, and I'm I'm a cook. I love to cook, but I'm having to retrain myself like from scratch, because all my like favorite foods or what I'm really good at cooking at are all really fattening dishes. You know, even like with spaghetti, I did like, you know, with this program, I'm learning how much sugar is actually in, you know, pasta sauce, and I didn't even know that. And I would just slop the pasta sauce on there, you know, so I'm trying to I'm trying to be patient with this process. This is a lot of change. This is a lot to learn. Okay, no, I'm not seeing the results that I probably should at this point. So it's time to, like, I guess, ramp it up and get on board with the portion fix and try that. And I'm sure that, you know, I'll start seeing more results once I figure out the portion and try different recipes and stuff. So I'm being kind to myself is what I'm trying to do.
That's the best thing you can do, because it is a lot of change. And, you know, depending on how you have been eating, your body may take longer to be okay with the changes. We all have different sets, you know, things we came from into this and different results from it. And I think the best thing you can do is just give yourself the grace so that you continue, right? Because you're just going to keep getting better with practice, with knowing what helps you feel good, knowing what foods, you know, what days work, like as far as a weight loss day where you can be like, oh, I had this week a few times and I lost some weight this week. So that definitely works. You can just see how things are rolling.
I think you're doing a fantastic job, honestly. You show up every Thursday night, and that's half the battle. And I mean, that's just it. You show up regardless, like you're always here. I was totally late, and that's completely my fault. But you're here every Thursday, and I have mad respect for that, because that takes a lot to just show up consistently for yourself and for everyone here. So kudos to you, my friend. Like, I really have a lot of respect for that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That's sweet.
It really is. It's not something fast. That's for sure.
No.
Well, and there are also things that you can do. Like if you like pasta, there are substitutes that you can have. Like, so I had this linguine, which is hearts of palm, yesterday with my vegetables and my chicken, and it was awesome. And it wasn't the same carb amount. I mean, this is like 10 calories or something for a serving. And so there are ways to have your favorite foods and maybe substitute a couple of the ingredients to make it more healthy, and it's still delicious and enjoyable. But you just gotta play with it. You gotta play with your food and find what works for you.
100%.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm like experimenting with things and trying new things, figuring out what I like, what I don't like. that's, like for instance, the oat milk, somebody recommended the oat milk in place of the almond milk. And, so I wanted to change with my creamer. I was kind of getting bored with the same creamer. And so I picked up an oat milk creamer which is still better than the sugary creamer.
Right.
And that's kind of how I'm looking at it. And I'm just and I am also using a smaller portion. So even just those small changes, I feel like I'm moving closer and closer to my goal.
Yeah.
Amy, what are you doing about the sugar in your iced tea? We were talking about that last week.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm still using the organic cane sugar, and I'm using half a cup for an entire pitcher of iced tea. And that taste wise, I'm okay with that, and like we talked about last time, as my body adjusts with, cutting out the sugars, I may not even require as much as half a cup. But I think, the organic cane sugar is definitely a better choice versus regular cane sugar, and I'm using less of it. But that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I mean, like you'll figure out what's really important to you, right? Like what still helps you feel like you get to have what you want and comforted, or just feeling like you're living your life, right? And then there's going to be things that aren't as important that you can sub in. I mean, I've found, like especially with pasta, we really mostly like that topping that's on the pastas usually versus the pasta itself, right? So if you still can keep all the flavor, but just shift something a little bit and then change the caloric look of that food, and then you still feel like you're getting the things you want. And that's kind of how the progress happens too, is you're just adding these little tweaks to a menu, and maybe you just make things a little bit different that you used to make, and it goes a long way. And I know it feels slow, like it felt like forever that took me to lose the weight, but in the end it's still gone. So it's like you still get there, and the time's going to pass anyway, so we might as well learn how to feed ourselves better and do better while we're in it, and just follow the process.
Well, I definitely want to get the cookbooks. Right now I'm kind of improvising and trying to use common sense. Like tonight I made sloppy joes. I used turkey meat instead of buying manwich that's loaded with sugar. I bought just, tomato sauce and added some sugar-free barbecue sauce to it because I like my sloppy joes sweet. And I normally eat this is weird, my sloppy joes with cream cheese. I would load the cream cheese on there. And so this time, no cream cheese. I'm not having two. Normally I would have two. I'm having one, and I'm having a salad with a healthy dressing. So I'm making those changes and adjustments.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
And
awesome.
Autumn has a really good sloppy joe recipe if you want to try it. And it has maple syrup in it. So it's sweeter. I skip the maple syrup and do mustard because I like my sloppy joes to be savory. But yeah, and you have access to that on BOD now. So you don't even have to get the cookbooks. It's in there. Do you know how to find those recipes?
Yeah. I've been browsing the website more and more as time moves, progresses or whatnot. But I'm like so glad though, like to learn. Sue told me about the videos. I didn't even know those videos existed with the portion.
I know so many people don't. Yeah, I know. I should probably start posting about some of these other things in there too, because there is a whole world in BOD that never gets used.
Yeah, and it's been like huge, like a game changer watching these videos. And there was one section on like food addiction, and it was like a Q&A thing, and I got so emotional watching it because the guy's story is my story. I might as well have been sitting there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now this is making sense. It's like a puzzle. I'm piecing the puzzle together.
Yeah.
It totally is. Well, that's exciting, Jamie. I think you're doing awesome. So I'm excited for you. It's gonna be a good year, and I know it won't feel very fast, but it'll be happening.
Jamie, when did you start? How many weeks is it?
It's been, I think, 5 weeks that I joined. And I also have to be a little more forgiving too, because I got the COVID shot and that got really sick from that. And then like a few days later, I got a really bad cold that I couldn't shake for like 6 days. So it kind of put me behind with my workouts and whatnot. But with, that those were legitimate reasons. I was genuinely sick that I couldn't work out. But the days that I have been well, I have, stuck to it, and I've been doing the workouts, and that's been a huge challenge too, just trying to condition myself to do, push myself and do those workouts. Even when I don't feel like it, I'm still pushing myself and doing it.
Which program are you doing?
Right now I'm doing the 21-day fix, but I'm considering repeating it and doing it again, but then adding the portion fix to it to see if I get better results.
Oh,
Yeah, that'd be great.
I love 21-day fix.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I started with.
That's what I started with too. I think
Yeah.
everybody start with it pretty much.
Yeah.
Place
Yeah,
to
I've
start.
just been doing it. Sue and I have been doing it again for the past 3 weeks. And,
Awesome.
yeah, it's a great program.
I know.
really
I forgot how many great moves are in it. Like when I redid it 6 weeks ago, I was like, whoa, that's some good stuff.
Yeah, and I'm gonna add too that I forgot how hard 21-day fix is after not doing it for a while. So
Yes. It's
Yeah.
legit.
it is
You doing-
legit for sure.
Are you doing the original or are you doing the real time?
I'm doing real time.
Okay.
I was
Yeah.
doing, I did a little original, a little real time. I did the first week original. The second week was some real time, and then I threw some extreme in the last week. It's just been a mix up, but
Yeah, you're floating around.
Joy, do you mean certified in Ultimate Portion Fix?
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if
Sorry.
I'm not. I started the 2B mindset certification way back when it first came out. Is anybody UPF certified? You are, Beverly?
I'm-
Oh, Rob.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I want to start it. I haven't. It's on my
Yeah.
list of things to accomplish.
Start
this
it,
year.
Mariana. You and I could do it together.
Do you want to, Sue? Message me
Yeah,
after and we'll
'cause
sort it out.
I will, because
Little group.
I
Getting through
yeah,
it.
You
I've
have
been
to
working
buy
on
it?
You do
You
have
do.
to buy
It's
this
to get
certification.
Okay.
certified.
Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah.
start. Okay. I
Yeah.
just want to make
It's
sure.
$99.
Yeah.
Is it hard
Yeah.
to get certified?
No, it's
I-
just more education in the program. So she tells you how to work with clients on using the program and different things to look for and how to, talk about it.
So if you're looking to like actually do this for an income, that's probably something you'd want to do, right?
Yeah, I
So-
think I mean, it's definitely a great step because you would have more of a background in nutrition to help people with Ultimate Portion Fix for sure. Yeah.
I'm doing it more to deepen my knowledge on nutrition.
Yeah.
Clarity. So
Lily, I love watching you dance. It's fun.
Well, I'm having fun dancing, whether I'm on the wrong foot or not. I'm still having fun. And I must say, today, so I have 2 days left, and today's Broadway workout was like the funnest workout so far. And I keep changing my mind because week 4 has brought like the funnest workout like every day.
Okay.
That's awesome. All right, you guys. Well, we're already after 6 or 9, wherever you are, or 8. Some of you in the Midwest.
9:03.
Yeah. So we'll have to bring if you have questions you didn't get to ask tonight, feel free to throw them in the comments when I post the recording and we can just go through them in there or just bring them for next week. Does anybody have something they'd like to talk about next week? Any hot topics? I was thinking about we should probably talk about supplements at some point. So we could do that next week, just so you know when and how and what the Beachbody supplements are for.
how far are you into Roar really quick? I've been wondering that.
I think I'm in
listening to
chapter
it.
6.
Oh, I'm on chapter 11.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we may have to have a book club about this because
Right?
there's so much information
So
that's so
much.
my
I'm gonna have
God.
to re-listen to that whole thing probably 10 times. I mean, there's so much and it's so good.
Is
I
that a
thought about
Beachbody
just
book?
buying too to see some of the charts that she has listed
Yeah,
in the book.
I do too. Yeah, Kathy, it's a book by Stacy Sims, and she was previously an athlete with like an endurance sport. And so she is writing a book about the fact that women are not just tiny men and we shouldn't train like we're little men. We need to train how women's bodies handle things. And she talks a lot about hormone fluctuations and how that affects your ability to gain muscle, how the older you're getting, the more muscle you're just naturally losing, and things to do to retain that muscle. So which all of our Beachbody products have great supplements for things. It's funny because anytime she brings up something, we already have it, and we have high quality and it's already there. So it's pretty.
What's the name of the book, dear?
Roar. ROAR. Roar.
And if you
Hold
have a
on.
library card and you use the Hoopla app, they have the audiobook on there for free rental. If you're an audiobook person, I don't know everybody is, but if you are.
I am.
Usually I'm reading books about murder and stuff.
Boy, I just recorded Mel Robbins.
Looks like
Mel
this.
Robbins audiobook.
If you want like a super sciencey version, yeah, here you go. It's
Thank you.
it's very technical, but I think it's just really eye-opening.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
a good book.
Should we take a picture really quick?
Sure.
Let's take a picture.
Get us up here. Oh, let me get the little glare here. Okay, we ready? Cheese.
Jeez.
All right, you guys. Okay, well, everybody have a good night, and we'll shoot for supplements next week, unless you have something else you want to discuss.
What's tomorrow's dress code?
Oh,
Blue.
Beachbody
Beachbody Blue.
Yeah,
Okay.
Beachbody Blue. So if you do have like say you've done a program that you really liked and you have a Beachbody shirt for it, you can also wear that. Yes, you can wear anything Beachbody or just blue, anything you want with that, 2 things. So
Okay.
All right.
I'll stick a post in the group too to remind everybody.
Thank you.
Good
Bye.
night.
Bye.
Out.
Thank you, Deanna.